Hi, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for our presentation, A New Educational Journey, Navigating the Future of AI in Education. My name is Jenna Fedewa, and I am an instructional technologist here at FGCU, and I'm presenting today with my wonderful colleagues.
Hi, I'm Katie Wing, and I'm an instructional designer at FGCU.
And I'm Rebecca Yost, and I'm also an instructional designer at FGCU.
So just a brief agenda of what we're going to go over this afternoon is how we got started on our initial sessions we presented to faculty at our university on ChatGPT, and then some of the post-session insights and knowledge we gained from those sessions, and then some ways that current faculty are using AI, and finally some opportunities and challenges we are seeing as instructional designers. So just a little bit of background, our team responded to faculty need by demystifying ChatGPT. In our sessions, we discussed with attendees what it can and cannot do, use cases, examples, prompts and outputs, new thought processes and modifications, assignment suggestions, and detection resources. We gave our presentation 4 separate times, one to a business school within FGCU, 2 times to general faculty, and then finally to a group of Fulbright teachers who are international K-12 teachers that come to the university for 2 weeks to immerse themselves in new teaching practices. Our sessions were started by a brief presentation by us, and then they transitioned into time for faculty members to interact with the tool and discuss different interactions as a group.
So when we started our sessions, we kind of had a goal to help understand faculty reactions to AI. So kind of get a sense of how they felt about it, demystify, as Jenna said, and provoke reflection to really empower faculty to start making individual decisions about how they wanted to incorporate AI into their teaching and learning. So when we came to the sessions, we started out with a question of before and after. We started a poll. We asked faculty how they felt about ChatGPT at the beginning and then again at the end of the session to kind of see how they were feeling before and after. It was a 1 to 10 scale, with 1 being I hate it, I think it's cheating. 5 was I don't really like this, but I'm learning how to deal with it. And 10 was bring it on. I'm excited to see the capability. And we did have people responding on all ends of the spectrum. But in general, from the beginning to the end of the sessions, what we found was the greatest shift in attitude was in that kind of people who are answering 1, 2s, 3s, I don't really like this, had moved to about a 5, 6, 7. So faculty who generally thought of AI as cheating started to kind of accept and start planning for its use. And so we conducted that with all of our sessions. And then to follow up, a few weeks ago, we sent a follow-up training post-session kind of survey to see how people were doing after several weeks. When people started attending the sessions, roughly a third had already tried ChatGPT. And so they were already familiar with it and just really wanted a way to kind of engage with their peers about, what is this? What are we doing with it? And then of those attendees that hadn't already experienced ChatGPT, 2 out of 3 left our session and then tried it out afterwards to see how it was used. And so that feedback we got from them is kind of a little bit what we'll talk about right now. So new users found ChatGPT either slightly useful or very useful. No one said it was not useful to them at all. And the majority of our attendees had already started integrating ChatGPT into their teaching or had planned to do so in the next semester. Primarily had already started using it in the classroom. And then this is kind of an interesting bit of information we got from that survey as well. FGCU uses Turnitin, and Turnitin recently integrated an AI detector into their product. And so overwhelmingly, we heard from faculty that they planned to have an academic integrity statement in their syllabus to address AI in a future semester, because our current university policy does not specify anything about AI. So they were like, yes, I'll do that later. And that came to kind of an interesting set of circumstances then when at the end of the semester they were getting feedback from the Turnitin AI detector that this might not be original work, and then they had to kind of have that discussion with faculty, with their students, to say, well, I don't have a policy about this, but I'm not okay with it. So they were kind of having to navigate that situation and how to interpret the results. And this led to kind of a university-wide conversation about the nature of academic integrity and how AI fits into that, and revising the current policy. An exploratory committee was set up by the provost to review positive integrations of AI in teaching and learning, and that task force meets regularly and includes faculty and administrators and is kind of the opposing end of this discussion of AI here at FGCU.
So some of the faculty uses of ChatGPT that came out of our sessions and from working with faculty afterwards really focused on them using it to develop creative lesson content, assignments, and activities. So some examples of faculty uses of ChatGPT as a tool is letting students use it to generate ideas and outlines for papers or assignments, as this can often be a difficult starting point for students to know where to begin. And then also using this in group project settings to help students begin to brainstorm and prompt discussion. So another use is having students practice their critical thinking by evaluating, critiquing, and doing a comparative analysis of the ChatGPT outputs and checking for things like redundancy, accuracy, and bias. And then also having students practice asking clear and concise questions to produce better quality outputs. So I've seen recently there's a lot of trainings and courses being offered on how to write ChatGPT prompts to generate the best responses. And moving forward, knowing how to write these prompts in an effective way might be a new skill set that students are going to need in the future. A reverse research paper has also been used where ChatGPT will generate the initial paper, which can be kind of limited in its scope and context and length, especially if it's a more general prompt. And then students are tasked with adding in the research and support to then produce a more in-depth quality research paper. Another interesting use a few of our faculty had mentioned is using ChatGPT as a conversation starter with students about our future with AI. So posing questions to encourage critical thinking and projection analysis about human versus machine generated content and our relationship with AI technology moving forward. And just some other ideas and modifications instructors have used are having students submit assignments where they have to include a personal or unique experience, trying a flipped classroom approach, having them discuss current events or future projections, doing role-playing activities, or using an oral exam or presentation to really articulate their understanding. So some opportunities we see for designers in the future using AI are, as we kind of mentioned before, assisting with lesson planning, developing discussion prompt ideas, starting paper or project outlines, developing rubrics, researching starting points, creating case studies, and just building more active and authentic learning opportunities. We also see an opportunity for designers to take their skills to a more practical application level and really building those experiences and expectations of students to try to move them beyond the lower levels of Bloom's and the memorization and understanding and move to the higher levels of the analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. And then in a broader sense, an opportunity to really have us stop and evaluate, how and why do we educate the way we do? So some things for consideration, are our practices still relevant? How can they be enhanced using AI? And what are the key practices and methods that we really need to ensure students are able to use to harness AI as a tool to support their education and careers and not be used, as some fear, as a replacement for education and learning?
Okay, and some challenges that we are seeing as designers and on a university scale are, how are we adapting to rapid and continual evolution of AI technology? It seems like every day there's a new update or product or thing that AI can do. And so how are we staying on top of all of these rapid and continual changes? How are you addressing accessibility issues and the widening digital divide? When we gave this presentation to the Fulbright teachers, we ran into the problem of many of them not having access to ChatGPT and AI tools in their home country. And so that's important to consider when working with international students is, are they able to access these tools where they're currently located? And then how do we address academic integrity in terms of AI usage? If faculty are planning to use it in their teaching and we as designers are planning to use it in our roles, where is the line for students? If we're saying it's okay for us, what is okay for students? And then finally, how do we juggle faculty that have varied ethical viewpoints regarding AI? We have seen a very broad scope, even within the same department, of attitudes towards AI. And some people love AI and are excited and already implementing and playing with it. And then we had a faculty member at one of the presentations ask us, hey, how can I go about destroying ChatGPT from the inside? Like, what can I do to make this go away? So we are seeing like a very wide scope of attitudes towards ChatGPT and AI.
And then the final kind of challenge that we see for designers, and this is a little bit contextual because at FGCU, the instructional designers serve as a consultant to faculty. So we really just kind of help them support the students. So it's a question about how do we work with faculty to find appropriate uses of AI in their courses from the student perspective. So how can faculty identify how best to prepare students for using AI, especially since we know that there are multiple different organizations out there that have different feelings about whether or not they allow AI. So like specifically if Apple's not using or not permitting the use of ChatGPT on their campus because of proprietary information, we need to prepare students both for jobs outside of positions like at Apple and those that are inside. So making sure that we can prepare them for the future. And then also while we're still learning ourselves, this is kind of an ongoing learning experience. And so based on our experience, I definitely would recommend that IDs kind of open that conversation with faculty so that they can continue moving this discussion forward, keep navigating us on this journey with AI.
Thank you so much for joining us, and feel free to give us contact us at elearning@fgcu.edu, and we are excited to be part of the panel.